Hey, I'm Matt with Meat Church. It's time to bust out the poultry shears because today we're spatchcocking a turkey. So if I choose to cook a whole turkey for a holiday meal, this is actually the method that I'm going to use. I spatchcock for a number of reasons, mainly to get this turkey more down flat so it cooks more evenly. You don't have to worry about, this stuff, like depending on how you're cooking your turkey. If you're standing up, laying it flat, it'll cook more evenly, it'll cook quickly. And I always say it presents a lot easier. You can remove this from your desired cooker out onto a platter. It's easier to carve, and so that's the way to go for me. And it's super simple. We've been doing it every year. Unless you're new here, you've seen us do this before. So what do we have here? This is a 12.5-pound turkey that I brined overnight. I always brine my turkeys. I use our bird baptism brine. I always say it's our #1 product in the fall. Probably the #1 comment I get from our followers is, hey, followed your turkey video, used your brine. My family said it was the juiciest turkey I've ever had. And I hear that year round. Like, heard it all summer in Florida. Anyway, and I actually think you can brine a turkey that you get from the store that's frozen in a solution. I've never had one person say it's too salty. So anyway, you kind of do what you want to do. But I brined this overnight. All I did was I used the entire package. I heated up in a pot. Not to a boil, just allow all the salts to dissolve, let it 100% cool, put the turkey in a food safe container, dump the brine over it, make sure it's completely submerged, and I leave it in the fridge overnight, or I do it in a cooler in the outdoor kitchen with ice, depending on your room situation. So how do you spatchcock this? Let me just talk it through here. Flip over to the back side is really super simple. Invest in some good poultry shears. I always say don't open up your wife's utility drawer and get the nasty ass scissors that you cut your mail open with. Get poultry shears that you can wash and only use for this. You're simply going to cut down both sides of this backbone. That's all you got to do. With these, you can do it with a knife too. It's much easier with these. So I'm going to cut down this, pull it out, and then I'll move on to one additional step that I do. All right, really pretty easy. It's harder than a chicken, but it's not that big a deal. I save this along with the giblet bag that's in it, anything that comes in the turkey and the neck, and I make stock with this. We have turkey noodle soup recipe on meatchurch.com. The good thing about doing a bunch of turkey videos this time of year is I have a ton of this stuff, so I can make a bunch of stock and a bunch of soup. You could also use that, for your gravy. So what's the extra step I do? Some people will take their turkey like this and kind of flatten it down and just cook it just like that. That is perfectly fine if that's your preferred method. I go one step further and I remove this breastbone. So I'll just put a little pressure here, take a really sharp chef knife, and just like doing a chicken, make a little incision there. And you want to expose that breastbone. This part's a little more of a pain because you've got to get your finger around it. But let me try to show you that here. So I'm just gonna expose this here, and then I'm gonna work my way around this with my fingers, and I'm gonna pull that out. The reason I do that is when you're done cooking, you can just slice right down without having to deal with this. So again, optional, but something that I like to do. Just like that. Do the other side. Get it out, one nice clean pull. Now you're boneless right through the middle, much easier to deal with at the end. Okay. Now let's talk about seasoning. Season your poultry with your favorite rub. In my case, we're lucky. I'm gonna trim a little fat off while I'm talking to you. We're lucky to have a lot of seasonings that are fantastic on poultry. You've seen us in the past do a whole lot of honey hog, voodoo, gospel, holy gospel. We came out with Texas sugar last year, and I always tell people it's not as sweet as the name sounds. It's actually awesome on turkey. A lot of our rubs are actually sweeter than this. It's just a name that I always wanted to use, so don't be afraid of that. So I'm gonna season underneath. I'm not putting a binder on today because this is just really wet from coming out of the brine. You could use a binder if you choose to, but we're just gonna keep it really, really super simple today. You could add some pepper if you want. You guys have seen me do that a few times in the past. By the way, you guys know we have lots of turkey recipes and videos of all type, no matter what type of turkey you're doing for Thanksgiving. And while I'm seasoning, this little note on our brine, by the time this video comes out, we're getting pretty close to Thanksgiving, so always be mindful of shipping times. You might want to choose to use our dealer locator on meatchurch.com and buy local, support our wholesale dealers versus having it shipped from us. Now, I'm gonna put a glove back on, come do a little surgery on this turkey. I like to get underneath the skin, separate the skin from the meat so I can apply some seasoning directly to the breast meat. A lot of times when people carve turkey, it's obviously pretty easy to pull the skin off, and that's the only thing you've seasoned. So I like to actually season the meat as well. So I'm gonna try to be real careful with this. This is oddly satisfying, by the way. And you can do most of this with your hand. If any of it's being persnickety, you can just make some incisions, pull it away. And do this as much or as little as you want, but I think this is great. This way you can get some seasoning and penetrate the meat, and that'll be a lot better flavor when you're eating it. There we go. And then I'll use toothpicks at the end to kind of pin this skin back underneath, so during the cook process, the skin will stay down and be pretty. Because remember, this is now the centerpiece of your holiday meal, and you're gonna be judged by your family. So you want it to look really pretty. You could do this on the legs as well. I'm just gonna do it on the breast meat. I'm gonna put a glove on. I'm gonna shut up. I'm gonna finish seasoning this, and then I'm gonna let it adhere, and then we'll get into cooking. Time to talk about cooking. Today we're running a Traeger Timberline XL. You can replicate this on anything that you want to cook it on. I love cooking turkeys on Traegers because honestly they come out super beautiful. They're going to be lighter in color than an offset smoker or a charcoal, so that's why I like it for poultry in particular. So let's talk about wood. Today we're running cherry. You don't see us do that too often. In other turkey videos I talked about wood as an ingredient. So really heavy smoke would be like mesquite, a little less smoke would be hickory, a little less smoke would be pecan. We did that this month. And then below that would be fruit woods. So you get to choose your choice of ingredients that you want to use, but we're running cherry pellets today, which is going to be a really pretty color and a delicate flavor. Temperature wise, we're doing 275. That's usually what I do for turkey. I wouldn't really go any lower. You would go lower if you want to get more smoke. The skin will get more rubbery. My goal is not crispy skin. If my goal was crispy skin, I would have dry brined the skin for at least a day after I wet brined it. But that's not what we're going for today. You could go higher, 300, 325. I'll warn you, you get to 325, your skin's gonna start to pull, it may pop, so you just kinda have to watch it. You might wanna baste with butter along the way to keep that from happening. So this 12.5 pound turkey is probably gonna take right at 3 hours or so to cook. Shape it nice and pretty. We're gonna be good to go. We don't have to do anything, like I said, unless you wanna baste it with butter, which, I definitely am a big fan of that. Otherwise, we're gonna let it roll, and we'll check back in with you guys at the end. So we're at the 3 hour mark. I've been temping along the way. I usually temp in a couple places. for my competition days, you know, I'm often in here in this joint just to kind of see where we are. But mainly I go back here in the biggest part of the breast, and I'm going in deep looking for, usually I go to like 158. It's gonna carry over, cook a few degrees, and it's safe at this point anyway. And we're there. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull this off. Probably better to do it with a big spatula, but I'm using my hands today. And over to the board we go. All right, well, this turkey has cooled off for quite a while, so we're gonna see how we did here. First I thought, well, let me show you this. If you used toothpicks to pin the skin, you're gonna wanna make sure you remove those. You don't need somebody eating that. Maybe your mother-in-law, but otherwise you don't want anybody eating that. Benefit of taking the backbone out. So I told you could just kind of cut right through, and good Lord, so juicy. Juice just came pouring out of this. That's no doubt thanks to all that brine that we've got in here. But just easy to deal with, honestly. And I'm not gonna sit here and carve all of this, but I find this to be much easier than the kind of traditional style turkey. So I'm just gonna take a little piece off here. See how we did. Super good. The skin's actually not too rubbery. First thing, it's like crazy juicy. We can see all kinds of, I've been sitting here for a while and it's just juicy as can be. But I really dig the flavor from the Texas sugar. It's a great addition to our turkey arsenal. So if y'all have not tried that, I've definitely tried this. It's a winner for sure on poultry. But by now, you guys have watched all kinds of turkey videos from us. We say a million times, we've got all sorts in our turkey playlist: fried turkey, smoked fried turkey, turkey breast, traditional turkey. But maybe you don't like turkey at Thanksgiving. We shoot all these way in advance of Thanksgiving, so by the time Thanksgiving comes around, to be honest with you, I don't want to see another turkey, much less taste one. So we usually do prime rib, holiday briskets, things like that. We've got videos on all of that as well, so be sure to check that out. Thanks for being here. Like and subscribe, and we'll see y'all next week.